FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
The new chairman of the FCC, who sends his regrets because he was planning on coming but he couldn't, recently outlined his views on the idea of net neutrality. There are 4 principles that have been adopted as sort of non-binding principles around net neutrality, and he recently suggested, or strongly suggested, they should be adopted as actual policy, as rules. What do you make of that? And what is your view of what is a pretty loaded and sometimes ill-defined term, net neutrality?
Well, I think you just hit my number one point, which is tell me exactly what it means and what problem we're solving that requires an act of government, and I can give you a very specific reaction. I think it means a lot of things, unlike some of the things you've said where there may be general consensus. I think this has a very different meaning to a lot of different people. That said, we have a brand new chair of the FCC, very, very capable, very smart, very likable, and I take him, and I think a lot of people do, at his word, which is he's going to be very fact-driven and very open and transparent, and is beginning the process to ask a lot of questions to see what's working, what's not working, what could be fixed. The idea that we're not going to have an open internet is just not realistic. We have an open internet. It's been incredibly successful. The fact that we're talking, let's take your other point, which is we're behind the rest of the world. I may not share that view of where we are relative, but I don't think we would disagree on what it's going to take to stay relative and stay ahead. And I think that's going to take, by the FCC's own estimate, $350 billion collectively to be spent to go to the next generation of, we call it wideband from broadband, or wherever we're headed next, 4G wireless and others. And how much regulation comes in? Does that stifle investment? What principles need to be maintained to make sure there's not abuses? We welcome that conversation, but the Washington Post editorial came out, day after they started this proceeding and said, what problem are we fixing? And let's make sure we aren't, that there's a reason that that's happening, and that's, I think, the right question, and that's where we should begin.